this section we're going to be talking about shapes, or we can call them formations. Now, if you know anything about military science, tactics, or doctrine, or anything like that, or you've just played military games in general, this will be very basic, it's going to be very mundane, and a lot of people probably won't need this. This is more for people who are just starting out. So when we look at this formation right here, you can look at this and say it's a rectangle. This is technically called on line because they're all in a line. Now, with the way that most of the time you will be using men, especially in gunpowder or musket warfare eras, is you're going to try to have as much men to the front as humanly possible. So what is the big reason for this, you might be asking? Why do we need men to form a line or a rectangle on the battlefield? Now, there are a ton of historical reasons as to why we put men into rectangles and why shapes were kind of really cool and important for their day and age, but we're going to be talking more from the wargaming perspective. So if you want a more historical account, you'll have to find that information elsewhere. This is coming mainly from how can we take doctrine and put it into a video game kind of format. When we look at the idea of doctrine and the idea of why our men are in a line, it comes down to fire superiority. Now, if we have our men kind of... Line infantry! If we want to look at this... Oh, that's the wrong direction. Technically speaking, if we wanted the idea of blobbing, this would be what is most cause of it, right? A bunch of men in one spot right behind each other. But you have to remember, this game tries to be realistic. These men in the second row do not have the opportunity to fire, because when they fire, they're probably going to shoot the guy in front of them. And if you say, well, the second row should be fine, third maybe, when you get all the way back here, these men are pretty much useless. We're walking into a battle with only about, well, yeah, we have a flag bearer, the officer. We have 2 guns on the front. We are coming to this battle with 6 people, because we have 3. We're coming to the battle with 6 people who are going to start shooting the people ahead of them. This is just a way to try to be overwhelmed, to be shot, and more importantly, our flank or our side is completely exposed to any sort of fighting, especially since this is total war. These men aren't going to turn unless we tell them to turn to shoot this way. This little cone is the only thing that they are going to shoot at. That is why when we look at things, we try to get a line going. When we look at the topic of lines, you will see this in pretty much every game. The games that I'm going to be showing examples for are Company of Heroes 2, Gravity Team Tactics, and I believe that's going to be it because it gets the point across. When we put our men on line, what we are doing is we are allowing a solid line to fire forward. All of a sudden, out of these 160 men, before only 2 people in a regiment are able to fire, now we have what I can only assume is well over maybe 100, maybe just about 100 men are going to be shooting now. More men on the front who can shoot forward. And this especially becomes true when you get all of these 3, we can call them companies for our sake. General Staff reporting. But when you get all 3 of these companies and you have them online, all of a sudden we have a massive run. With only 3 units, we have managed to take the entire center and be able to defend it. Of course, when you get into the idea of actual battles and how they play out, this is only going to last so long, especially against a bigger, superior enemy. You do need more manpower. But when you talk about the idea of what our riflemen are here to do, and when you talk about the idea of line formation and lines in general, this is what we're pretty much talking about. We want our men on a line, going as far as they possibly can, within reason, of course, within mission context and boundaries. Now, in this game, it's a lot easier to kind of show this idea of what a line should be, because these men, especially in the Napoleonic era, would stand side by side. They would stand pretty much shoulder to shoulder, making these formations. So now, when we look at this, we have pretty much just a line of men, a wall of men, a wall of bayonets, of steel, that is holding this position. Of course, when you get to games like Company of Heroes, Gravity Team Tactics, or any other sort of, maybe even combat mission per se, then that's going to kind of disappear because you don't have these formations, especially when you get to games like Rapid Team Tactics and Combat Mission, where you can break down squad, where the platoon is already broken down into squads, and squads can break down into teams. So all of a sudden, what is right now a unit of 160, all of a sudden you're now trying to micro and try to keep formations of as small as maybe 6 or 3 men, depending on what you're doing with them, again depending on the game. But the line is pretty much going to appear in every war game that you play. Armored Brigade is another good one to talk about. If you play that game, the formation of line is going to come up. So now I'm going to get ourselves into a battle. I'm going to tell our men to advance forward. Again, we're not going to worry too much about their advance forward as much as we're going to worry about the reason, trying to show the reason for being on line.
Under attack!
So, as you can see, I hope that that isn't as loud as it seems like it's going to be. But as you can see, when all of our men are in this line formation, more and more are able to send volleys of lead to the enemy. Of course, this rear line here is more meant to act as a reserve, so to say, so when the front line kind of gets shot, they're going to have to deal with that. But as you can see, it's just this idea. The more men that we have up front, the more bullets are going to be sent this way. You can see it over here too. Hundreds of men are firing.
Victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Hundreds of men are firing at a specific target, and that's pretty much what we're getting at, right? Now, of course, these are skirmishers. This wasn't meant to be a fair fight. This is just to showcase the idea of why our men are online. And like I said, there should be a few examples for other games playing to kind of, again, emphasize what the reason for it is. And we'll even try to do a little bit here, putting our men into 3 ranks to once again showcase this idea of what we're doing as he runs away to not allow me to showcase it. What are you doing, Picton? So.
Yes, sir!
I don't think they're just reloading. They might shoot. I don't know who they're ranked for. Oh, there we go. Thank you kindly. So as you can see, it's less volleys, right? These volleys over here are making humongous dust clouds or smoke clouds, so they're, gunpowder as they fire hundreds of volleys every few seconds. This one is probably doing maybe 20 or 30 of that. 20 or 30 men at a time. And just because we have it in that little rank, again, you can make it a longer front. And you'll see the number of smoke, the number of rounds going increases.